Imagine your principal suddenly pulls you aside and says, I need to know exactly how many movies our entire school watched in theaters last month. Oh, and you have zero budget and you definitely don't have a whole year to run around asking every single person. So, how do you actually figure this out without just completely guessing? Well, let's figure it out.
Here's the core problem for our data experiment today. We need to survey our classmates about their actual movie theater habits. And just to be clear, we are strictly excluding rentals or streaming on the couch. We're talking real button-a-seat movie theater visits. But we need a super efficient way to do it. We can't just run around the cafeteria shouting questions at people. We need structure. We need a system that gives us truly reliable data.
By the end of this explainer, you are going to master 3 critical statistical tools: systematic sampling, frequency tables, and data grouping. You're not just going to memorize some dry textbook terms here. You'll actually understand the mechanics behind them and exactly how you can apply them to solve this real-world movie theater problem we just set up.
All right, step 1, systematic sampling. Let's look at how we actually choose the people to survey without accidentally skewing the results.
Here is how a perfectly fair mathematical approach works. Step 1, you just randomly pick one person to start. Step 2, skip 4 names down the class list and pick that person. Step 3, repeat that exact same process until you have 12 names. Honestly, think of it like a quality control inspector on an assembly line who tests every 4th widget that rolls by. Doing this ensures our net is cast evenly across the entire class list, from the top all the way to the bottom.
Now, let's quickly look at the math behind why we did this. We've got our 12 systematically selected classmates, right? Well, if we assign each of those 12 people to go out and just ask 5 different classmates our movie question, boom, we easily generate a solid, manageable data set of 60 values. 12 times 5 equals 60. With just a tiny bit of delegation and a really solid system, we've built a robust data set.
What we literally just did has a formal, professional name in statistics. It's called systematic sampling. That just means selecting subjects from a larger population at a regular interval. That regular interval part, that is the absolute key here. In our case, the interval was every 4th person. I really want to cement this definition so you have a solid professional anchor for the activity we just mapped out.
Now, wait a minute. You might be wondering, why not just save a ton of time and ask the first 12 people on the class list? Why do the whole skip 4 names routine at all? Well, the absolutely crucial point here is alphabet bias. If you just grab the top of the list, you're only getting the A's and B last names. And, sometimes families or even certain demographic groups share last names that cluster together in the alphabet. Systematic sampling completely prevents that clustering from messing up our data.
Okay, step 2, building frequency tables. So we have our 60 raw data points, but right now it's just a big, messy pile of numbers. Let's organize it.
To organize everything, we use our first tool, the ungrouped frequency table. Look at the number of movies column on the left. It lists literally every possible answer, 0, 1, 2, all the way up. The frequency column on the right, that is simply the raw count. It's exactly how many people gave that specific answer. So if 10 people saw 0 movies, the frequency is 10. It is as simple as that. But honestly, a raw count only tells us so much. So we add a third column to the mix, relative frequency. Now, what's really interesting about this is how it completely transforms our data. Relative frequency turns that raw count into a fraction, a decimal, or a percentage of our total 60 values. So if 15 out of our 60 people saw one movie, the relative frequency is 15 divided by 60, which is 25%. Let's pause for a quick check here. What exactly is relative about relative frequency? It's one of those terms that constantly trips students up. Well, the answer is that it's the frequency relative to our entire sample size. Saying 15 people literally means nothing if we don't know whether we surveyed 20 people or 2,000 people, right? Saying 25% gives us immediate, meaningful, relative context. To complete our master table, we add one final column, cumulative relative frequency. Think of this column exactly like a snowball rolling down a hill, picking up more and more snow. It basically acts as a running total. As we move down the list from 0 movies to 1 movie to 2 movies, we just add the percentages together. By the time we reach that bottom row of 7 or more movies, our running total will always hit exactly 100% of our surveyed classmates. Guaranteed.
Step 3, grouping your data. Sometimes having a dedicated row for every single number is just way too much detail. Let's look at a different way. check out this new grouped table. Instead of listing 0, 1, 2, 3 individually, we've created intervals. 0 to 1 movies, 2 to 3 movies. Look at how this drastically condenses the information. We've taken a long, kind of intimidating table and turned it into just 4 clean rows. We're combining those single numbers into powerful, really easy to read chunks.
So how do you actually choose between them? Let's compare. The ungrouped table gives you exact counts for every single number. It offers really high precision. The grouped table, on the other hand, sacrifices a little bit of that precision to show broader trends and patterns at a single glance. Neither is wrong, they just serve entirely different analytical purposes depending on what you're looking for. Okay, let's test this with a real-time mini quiz. Imagine I ask you to find the exact percentage of the class that watched at most 2 movies last month. Which table do you use? The ungrouped one or the grouped one? Take a second to really think about it. Which one gives you the right answer? If you said the ungrouped table, you hit the nail on the head. You absolutely have to use the ungrouped table for this. Why? Because the grouped table lumps 2 and 3 movies together into a single 2 to 3 category. It totally blurs the line. If you need a hard, exact cutoff at the number 2, you need that precise row-by-row detail that only the ungrouped table provides. Wow, we've covered a ton of ground today, so let's do a rapid-fire summary to fulfill our learning promise. 1. Systematic sampling uses regular intervals to avoid bias. 2. Frequency is just your raw count. 3. Relative frequency tells you the portion of the whole sample. 4. Cumulative frequency keeps a running total until you hit 100%. And 5. Grouping your data helps highlight big trends when exact precision just isn't required.
You now have the exact tools to collect and organize data like an absolute pro. But I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. If we repeated this exact same experiment next week, like if we picked a new starting name and sampled a totally different 12 people, would our frequency tables look identical? Actually, no, they wouldn't. That difference? That's called sample variation, and it's this fascinating mystery that we're going to be unraveling in our next